in tackling tough issues like blighted neighborhoods, crime, runaway spending, lack of accountability for our tax dollars, and potential and preferential treatment for special interest groups at the expense of the average citizen would be met with great resistance. I am gratified that after 4 years of fighting the tough battles, the voters of Salisbury recognized those efforts and chose to re-elect me overwhelmingly this year. During my tenure on the council, I have built a reputation as someone who is willing to take on tough issues and say what needs to be said. I have been outspoken regarding housing reform, crime, late audits, an $84 million wastewater treatment plant that doesn't work, developer subsidies, and much more. Despite a council majority mired in the status quo, my efforts seem to be making a difference. Unfortunately, when you're willing to take bold action on behalf of the people you serve, the opponents of positive change in Salisbury immediately resort to personal and professional attacks on those of us attempting to improve Salisbury and to help to better the lives of ordinary citizens. All of the energy that is being devoted in one attempt after another to discredit me suggests that change is on the horizon. The actions of these people, motivated by false pride or personal gain perhaps, suggest that those who benefit from the status quo in Salisbury will do anything to maintain their stronghold on our city. In an attempt to put some of this foolishness to rest, I am here today to answer questions regarding this matter. I have decided to stand up for myself and refute the false accusations and half-truths that the Daily Times feels are worthy of multiple front-page stories. I am confident that my answers will allow the public to gain a better understanding of the lengths to which some groups will go to apparently avoid honest, civil debate and to prevent meaningful change for Salisbury and her citizens. Just to refresh everyone's memory, I will summarize the facts regarding the tape which former Mayor Tillman and Chief of Police Alan Webster have falsely accused me of possessing. When Barry Tillman was first elected, I was outspoken on issues concerning neighborhood housing, blight, crime, and gangs, as outspoken as I am today. At that time, I was serving as the first executive director of Salisbury Neighborhood Housing, otherwise known as SNHS. When it became clear that my office had been broken into and my computer searched, I reported the matter to police. After several break-ins, the investigating officers requested my consent to install video surveillance equipment in my office. It is important to note that I was not present when the Salisbury police installed the camera. Frankly, I did not even know where the camera was or what type of camera was used. After the surveillance had run its course, the police advised me that nothing had been discovered and that the equipment would be removed. That was the last I heard about the tape until 3 days before the city election in April of this year, 11 years after the incidents in question. On April 3rd of this year, days before the election, I received a call from Police Chief Webster who accused me of having a copy of a surveillance tape that had been made in my office in 1998. My response to Chief Webster was that I did not have the tape. After Chief Webster's continued badgering me, I instructed the chief to contact my attorney if he wanted to discuss the matter further. He never contacted my attorney, but I did begin receiving emails about the tape from then Mayor Barry Tillman. This was on the day before the recent city elections. It appears now that former Mayor Tillman's remarks about this taking on a life of its own and her implication that she would do to me what she did to the late police chief Colburn Dykes were poorly veiled threats aimed at intimidating me. The remark about the late chief something to be taken very seriously, as former Mayor Tillman's vendetta to discredit and humiliate Chief Dykes was front-page news and truly took on a life of its own, the ugliness of which repulsed Salisbury citizens, whether they were supporters of Chief Dykes or not. Later, Laura D'Alessandro, a reporter for the Daily Times, emailed me saying, and I quote, "An anonymous letter from a community member says he or she has prior knowledge of the surveillance tape and it being in your, meaning mine, possession, and he or she is willing/planning to submit an affidavit to either the state's attorney or attorney general. As you know, the police asked for and received permission to install surveillance equipment in my office at SNHS. Anyone willing to submit an affidavit saying that I am in possession of such a tape is either committing perjury or possibly participating in a crime to plant evidence on my property." Today, I learned that Ms. D'Alessandro of the Daily Times claims to have evidence of my possession of his tape. According to her, Mark Tyler of the Salisbury Police Department claims to have handed over the tape to me. In addition, Ms. D'Alessandro herself accuses me of a crime, if I'm reading this email correctly. I am hoping that Ms. D'Alessandro has misinterpreted Captain Tyler's account. To be absolutely clear, I do not have this surveillance tape in my possession. I have never seen this tape. I do not even know that such a tape exists. Political retribution in Salisbury seems to know no bounds. While I could take the easy path taken by so many others and simply buckle under this intimidation, what message does that send to the next public-minded person who considers running for a position in Salisbury government? In closing, I want to ask you a few questions. Why has the police chief chosen to use valuable police resources investigating a crime that never occurred? Why has the Daily Times chosen to make something non-existent into a front-page story? Are we getting close enough to substantive positive change in Salisbury that those who oppose reform have nothing left but to resort to these types of attacks? Let's get back to the issues which truly matter to our fellow citizens. What is the status of the new $84 million wastewater treatment plant? Does it work yet? Who will pay the remedy for its defects? What is the long-term financial stability of the city in the face of significant state funding cuts and following years of runaway spending? What measures are we going to take to make our city safer for residents and businesses following well-documented shootings, murders, home invasions, and robberies? Those are some of the things that my detractors hope will be obscured by personal attacks